as a trader, primarily using charts and technical analysis to make our decisions and execute our trades. Recognizing patterns quickly and accurately is a huge part of what we do. Pattern recognition, along with other definable qualities such as volume, market trend, etc., all strengthen your thesis and incentive to take a trade and hopefully for you to make some profits. So what you're saying is in order to make a killing with stocks and day trading, all you need to do is look at chart patterns? Yep, that's what I'm saying. And it sounds too simple, right? Maybe even too easy to be true. Just take a pattern that always shows up, get in at a good entry, at a good time, buy low, sell high, and boom, you're rich, right? All of what I just said is true. Well, half true. You see, it's simple, but it's not easy. Make sure to watch the whole video because I'm going to go in detail with real life examples and show you guys what I mean. For me, I've always resonated with people who are actively in the business, working on the thing they're actually teaching. And so I personally think that it's better for me to just show you rather than to explain it to you with words. In this video, I'll go over some stocks and some chart patterns that show up every single day. Some patterns in which I participated in as well. They work a majority of the time with an ability to stay patient and extremely selective, and by also taking heed of my trading principles, you too should also be able to make a killing day trading stocks. I'm committed to sharing timeless values and money-making strategies with my viewers, so don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Now let's get some Benjis. So it's another beautiful day to make some money. I'm going to show you guys 4 different tickers, 2 of which I've participated in. And so let's take a look at the SPY first. This is the S&P 500. If you look at Friday's price action, it was mostly bullish, right? A lot of setups you could have taken, on Friday last week. And so when we, zoom in and take a look at the price action this morning being Monday, gives us a 5-minute bullish candle and then proceeds to sell off for the next, 10 minutes with these, 2 bearish candles. And then we hold this 509 level as support, and then it pushes back to the upside and then it pushes back to the downside. So it's chopping, right? It's chopping within this range between 510 and 509, right? So we just want to take note of what the S&P 500 is doing. It's pretty much just chopping up and down, but particularly in the first, 15 to 30 minutes, the S&P 500 went up and then, sold off, right? So taking that into account, let's take a look at SMCI. SMCI for the most part for the first, 20, 30 minutes was chopping in this range as well, but it was mostly bullish, right? When the S&P 500 was selling off, SMCI didn't really sell off too much in the beginning of the market open. And you can see, on Friday, it was pretty bullish. And for the past few days, it's been bullish along with the market. So SMCI seemed to have made a low a few days back and has just been grinding to the upside, making stair steps higher, with higher highs and higher lows. And so with SMCI, the current micro trend is bullish. And so once it breaks out of this trend line and approaches this level, along with the market, bouncing back up, I enter for some calls, right? So on the break of this trend line would have been a better entry, but I get in right around here and I take my exit right here, right? Could have left the runner to, make some more money. But overall, this is the ideal place you want to take your first exit if you're holding multiple positions, right? So this was a huge premium jump, made about $600-700 today. And yeah, it's just continuing to ride out. Usually, I like to take my partial exit so that I don't have to sit in any drawdown. And so my main target was 880, which it did hit. And so, there's always things to improve and work on. But, at this point, this is about 3 hours into the market open where, it finally hits the 880 level. So that would have definitely taken a lot of patience. But yeah, this was a good setup right here. You could maybe also have gone in, on the break of this level as a showing bullishness. And then you could have also taken an entry on the break of this trend line right here on this pullback to the EMA. Get around 870. Set a tight stop loss below these candles. And then, take your first exit over here at 880 and, leave a couple runners. At this point, it seems like it's going to chop a little bit longer to the end of the day. But, we'll see what happens with that. So if you haven't watched my previous videos, I'd recommend you to go watch that. Basically, the trade I took was just a breakout, right? It was just a breakout of, a level, a breakout of a trend line. And, with multiple bullish wicks, there's different areas of confluence that give me confidence in taking this trade, right? I just wanted to recap that one. If we take a look at Tesla, while the market is chopping, going up, down, and sideways for the first, 30 minutes to an hour, Tesla is kind of chopping as well, but it's, forming this trend line, as you can see. And so once it breaks out, this would have been your ideal entry. And, you could have, basically rode it out for the next 2 hours or so up to the next level up at 198, right? And with Tesla, you could obviously have taken note that, it jumps in the pre-market with, some news that Elon Musk went to visit China in hopes to continue or strengthen his factories in China, which seems to have given investors and speculators more confidence in the stock, making it jump overnight in the pre-market. And so with this, regardless of whatever, Elon Musk does or whatever other people want to do, these patterns play out every single day, right? And so on the break of this trend line would have been the ideal A plus entry, maybe take some partials out, over here right below 192, and then, take some more partials out, in the approaching 198. So this would have been an ideal setup. It's just a perfect, A plus trend along the EMA, making higher highs and higher lows after this trend line break, right? It's really just picture perfect. Not really much stress involved with a trade like this when it's just, the price action is almost perfect to the T, with barely any red candles and pullbacks. And so another great trade using chart patterns along with price action. You can also see right here it's a triple bottom, right? So it's overall very bullish. Doesn't seem to want to, break this support level at 185. And the price action is overall bullish. And so when it breaks out of this, it was just a couple hours of, a morning bounce or a morning downside in which it gave a morning bounce off a triple bottom. And so the wider the base, the greater the upside potential, right? And so the wider or the longer the consolidation takes place, on the break of that trend line, you should expect, a bigger upside. So that's with Tesla. If we take a look at NVDA, right, gave us great price action on Friday. In the pre-market, it's kind of chopping around the same level. And then the first 15 minutes or so gives us, a huge sell-off to the downside, right into this 854 SMA, this moving average, and then bounces off of that, right? And so personally for me, I wouldn't have taken any trades. I just don't see any A plus setups, within the stock today. You could have taken, some calls on this entry right here or on this pullback right here. I typically don't like to trade the market open. And so the first 15 minutes in which this was selling off, not really a great setup in which you should take a trade. Very volatile, and it's very difficult to control your risk, during the first few minutes of the market open. And so what kind of trade would I look for if I was, looking at the stock? I'd actually look for some upside after this trend line break right here. It seems to have kind of broken it already. And so I'll set a tight stop loss below these candles right here and, look for the upside with that. But overall, not the best looking price action as it's kind of choppy. But yeah, if anything, this is bullish, and I would take the break of this trend line right here, set a tight stop, and maybe look for 880, 883. And so, yeah, that's what NVIDIA, if you look at the day before, the Friday before, this is great price action, right? Could have gotten in on this pullback right here, on the break of this level right here, and then on these pullbacks right here, right? So overall, whether it's a break of a trend line, a breakout of a flag, a triangle, or a parallelogram, or a square, these kind of patterns happen over and over again, where it goes in direction of the micro trend, and then it pauses, it pulls back, and on that pullback or on the break of that pullback, when you draw your flag out or your trend line, you get in, set a tight stop loss below the previous, set of candles, and you look for, the move in going into your favor, going in with your favor. So I don't want to make this video too long. Just a simple, trade review, trade recap of what you could have taken today on April 29th. We got one more day of the month left. And so, personally, I'm up a couple thousands of dollars. So my job at this point is just to, protect the month profit, not go so crazy on, the last day of the month, because Trust me, I've had that happen, right? Where you try to, hit a certain goal, hit a certain milestone, and, you give back way more than you expected on the last day, right? So on days like this, the first or the last day of the month, you tend to get more emotional. If it's your birthday, you may be a little more emotional than usual. Better to, lighten up on your size, tighten your risk, and, protect your profits. And so that's it for this segment. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video and appreciate the value that I've given you, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. As you can see, these kind of patterns and what I call the go, pause, and go patterns show up every single day, and retail traders, meaning everyday traders like you and me, can make money every single day with these patterns. I highly recommend you to watch some of my other videos if you haven't done so, as they're all filled with value as well. Once again, I appreciate your time here, and I'll catch you in the next video.